There are several memories that I share with others when I talk about Eileen at the nursing home and what it was like for the few days before she was admitted to the hospital initially. And these memories vary from good to bad, but the ones that we cherish the most, of course, are the ones that we shared, the ones that I think if she were being asked the same question, memories that she would also call up from her deep memory bank and would probably have a laugh or two at those things that we have shared together. I often refer to this as what I call the scent of memory. And often, it's like a fragrance that you will smell in the air. It might be the scent of lilies at Easter time. And often that sort of fragrance or that aroma, that smell, will evoke a memory that will cause a smile on your own face, or collectively perhaps the two of us, Eileen and I. In our instance, for example, there are, sure, the smell of lilies at Easter, because we always traveled to my parents or to our children's at that time for family gatherings. And what we always experience at those times is happiness. So I think what the role of memories is not only to stave off the stigma associated with dementia and Alzheimer's in particular, but also to try and recreate that sense of happiness that we shared together in all those 45 years of marriage before she was finally put into the nursing home, for her own good, for her own safety, for her own care. But that's not to say that there aren't still moments of happiness that we share together. There are several. We've had so many in the last 2 years. And generally speaking, they do, again, start with what I call the scent of memory, that fragrance of an instance or a moment or even a millisecond where a flashback will occur. And sometimes we even intuitively share that moment without realizing that we're conscious of it until after we both smiled. In fact, sometimes it is even Eileen's smile that recalls for me certain times in our lives together when I'll probably get very emotional and shed a few tears, and when she sees me do that, of course she does as well, and vice versa too. Moments like holding your first child at birth, or your first grandchild, or seeing one of your children succeed in figure skating, say doing a triple axel or something like that, or scoring their first goal playing hockey. Those are moments in the past that we like to relive, we like to recall, and remind ourselves of the moments that we shared together that allowed for these great instances of happiness to become part of our memory bank. So even now, I'm able to say to Eileen our children's names, and she'll prick up like that. And obviously I'm making that connection with her. And that's a really fundamentally sound way of reconnecting the tranquility and the peace that we had in our own family household. I think of it also in terms of anticipation, in the same way that when illness or disease or death occurs in the family, you go through a grieving period. And often we don't anticipate that grief. We don't anticipate the emotions that we're going to experience. But if you were to do so, if you were to imagine what it would be like to be in a situation of having to grieve, in the same way, you can imagine what it's like to have to recreate happiness when it's no longer available to you on a day-to-day basis in a permanent relationship that would have otherwise been normal. So in a sense, what I like to do is to try to help Eileen establish those moments of happiness and remind her of those past memories that are now in the present, and see if she will smile or twinkle in her eye or shed a tear. And that's so important for us because it means that we are communicating. We are touching each other's hearts and souls. And I think it lifts her spirits as well as mine. We often forget about the caregiver or the one who's left behind, as though they are being abandoned. But if we play that role, if we play the role in a way that allows those memories to come back to the present and relive them, recreate them, make them present in a way that we can own them once again, then I think that's really, really a wonderful way of dealing with the stigma that's often associated with dementia. Happiness is one way. Another way is through music, through sound. So I'll often play for Eileen songs that were our song, whether it's a wedding song, let's say, or a song that we might have danced to when we were first dating, let's say. These are really good at evoking memories and will reinforce the sense of belonging, the sense of connectedness, and make sense of where she is now and where I am now. And even though we live in different places under different roofs, we are still together. I visit her every day, and I know that when I'm not there, she's less happy. So in a sense, being with her even for 3 or 4 hours a day and being able to recall those memories on her behalf allows her to find tranquility and peace of mind. And I think also helps her to realize fulfillment essentially within herself. There are many, many such instances of memories, and some of them are very personal, obviously. Instances, for example, as a first kiss, or another kiss in the 45-year interim period that will remind us of the first kiss. Like, do you remember that first kiss? And, well, sometimes you try not to, but other times it can be very, very refreshing and renewing as well. And I guess that's part of what these memories serve to do, help us to renew our relationship as partners, as spouses, as lovers. That raises an interesting thing too. As lovers, here we are 2 years after Eileen has been in a nursing home, and yet love still defines our relationship, even though the nature of the intimacy is without what you would call a sexual dialogue. For many people that's what it's all about. But I think for the fullness of a relationship, it doesn't have to be only about that. There are many, many ways of discovering intimacy within one another. And often it's simply a smile, a look in each other's eyes, a touch of the hand, for example. In our case, Eileen and I used to hold our hands in a particular way, interlocking our little fingers when we walked or when we were even going to bed. And that's sort of reinforced, once again, the idea of togetherness and sharing our lives together. These are happy memories, and I just hope that I can continue motivating and stimulating Eileen in that way. I hope everybody can.